Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 21 of License to Carranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Gekisou Sentai Carranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today, man?
Oh, it's, man, it has been quite a day. Actually, the twins just didn't do nap time today. Just didn't.
Just skipped it?
Did not.
Just decided that was not for them today?
Yeah, well, after about 2 hours of trying, they were finally settling down, and then the dude who lives behind me decided to start up a boat engine in his garage
now,
at 3:30 in the afternoon in the middle of the suburbs.
I was going to say, Dave, I mean, we don't live too far from the lake, either of us, but neither of us live close enough to the lake that a boat engine is in the sort of what we are worrying about on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think we live in the absolute worst zone, the least permissible zone for a boat engine. Because if you live like far away from a body of water, but you own a boat because like you like to travel to one, then it's like, listen, man, you know, we're in the middle of the state. There's no water here. I got to work on this boat engine someplace. Like, sorry, this is just it. And if you live right on the water, well, then it's like, well, you know, you live by the water, man. There's going to be boats there. I live like close enough to the water that if you have a boat thing, you should just be at the friggin' water, not in your garage. Like, it ain't that far, man. Just go where there is supposed to be boat engine noises, not in my backyard.
Right. Take your boat engine to the boat where boats live. Don't have boat activities in a non-boat zone.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It is the first time I have ever walked out my house to like yell out my backyard at a neighbor. Like, I've never done it before. I was so furious. Anyways, so that was a crummy middle of my day, but this is a great end to it. So, bright side.
Yeah, Dave, speaking of a great end to our day, the thing that we're going to close out with here is talking about episode 21 of Carranger. It is called The Carnavi That Surpassed Carnavi. Now, you might think, Matt, are you saying carnival but not finishing the word? That's what I thought too, until I watched the episode.
I was fully expecting a carnival-oriented episode. I was real confused. Nope.
No, it does make sense, but we will get to that once we get to the episode itself. But of course, Dave, before we get to that episode, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. What is our first star of the week?
So our first star of the week, Matt, is that you and I just had a genuinely delightful weekend.
Lovely.
It was Father's Day. Yeah, it was Father's Day this past weekend. And our dad said, hey, guys, it's been a while since we just had a real opportunity to like hang out and connect. I'd really like to kind of like get away for the weekend. And I said, sounds great. That is tough for me. And Dad said, well, what if Mom came and like helped Beth with the twins and you could get away? And I said, sounds good. And Beth said, that is cool because she's great and Mom is great and everybody's great. Everybody's great. So we did. We got away for the weekend, you and me and Dad, and we went over to Pittsburgh. We got an Airbnb. It was this nice little cottage. I was struck again by Airbnb is so much better than hotels. Like I get why hotels are still in business, obviously. Like, they do provide a service. But virtually anytime I personally need a hotel, I could also get an Airbnb that would work like basically just as well. And it's either like much nicer and the same price or like dramatically cheaper.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing, is that hotels are a very like no risk, no reward sort of proposition. Like, you go to a hotel, you know exactly where you're going to get, and there is nothing good necessarily about being in a hotel, except that when you arrive, you're pretty sure that, like, the sheets are clean, and the TV has cable. Like, no risk, no reward. But Airbnb is one of those things that it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's high risk, high reward, but it's mid risk, mid reward, because it definitely can break bad on you, right? Like, it's never happened to me, but you can.
I was going to say, I believe that it can. It's never happened to me, but I assume it's happened to somebody. This has been a paid promotion for Airbnb.
Man, Dave, if we had ever gotten paid for any of the things that are very clearly paid promotions, or things that ought to be paid promotions, we would be living a very different lifestyle.
It's true, we would be. Anyway, so we got this Airbnb. It was great. We went into Pittsburgh, had a delightful time. Love the city of Pittsburgh. I know some people, listen, if you are not like from Pittsburgh or Cleveland, you might be like, hey, I thought Pittsburgh and Cleveland didn't like each other. No, the Pittsburgh and Cleveland by and large love each other. Like, we're cool. Yeah. Unless you're like a real rabid sports fan, you might be like, I hate the Steelers. But even if you hate the Steelers, if you go to Pittsburgh and you're from Cleveland, you're like, oh yeah, this whole area makes a lot of sense, because like they're very, very similar. And had a delightful time in Pittsburgh. Drank a bunch of beers, ate some good food, most of which we made, but I like to eat the food that we made, and watched some Women's World Cup.
Oh man,
we had a blast.
We watched a surprising number of Women's World Cup games, especially considering the fact that, like, although we all like the World Cup, like, you and me and Dad, none of us are sit around and watch the big game sort of guys.
Yeah, like, very definitely. Like, if you are, that's fine. It's just not like, you know,
sure.
We are just not that sort of people, generally speaking. And we commented more than once, like, how bizarre it was that, like, the three of us were sitting on the couch, like, with some beers, like, watching the big game. Now, the game was women's international soccer, so we're still, like, fairly progressive, I think, in that.
I think that's
in
fair
that oeuvre. But heck of a game. Team USA crushing it, returning champions. You can see why.
Absolutely. Hey, Dave, the great things about the Women's World Cup is that you remember some years ago when the Cleveland Cavaliers were the champs, and of course they were the champs all year. When the women's team won the World Cup, they were not only champs all year, they were champs for 4 years. And I feel like we did not do enough to really highlight that achievement at the time.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to go back and edit some stuff in over the last 4 years.
Well, you know, if we win again this year, hopefully we will remember to do that.
Well, yeah. We'll really rub it in on all our international audience.
Oh, yeah.
The sorry Matt and Michael, I think, are
yeah, I think Australia's in it. I don't know that we have...
Yeah, they're definitely in the cup, for sure.
I don't know that we have any Chilean listeners, but if we do, sorry about your luck, guys.
I was going to say, man, if anybody is tuning in from Thailand, sorry, bro.
Yeah, that was... Anyway, the Women's World Cup, really fun. The whole weekend, a really lovely time to just chill and be with family. This is one of those sincere stars, not one of those joke stars. But I hope you all enjoyed it.
So what, Matt, is our second star of the week?
Dave, second star of the week, it is actually related to the first, because one of the things that we did while we were in Pittsburgh is because, Dave, you and I live in Cleveland, of course, the happiest place on earth. But unfortunately, one of the very few downsides of living in Cleveland is that we do not have an IKEA.
Yeah, that's true. We do not have an IKEA.
But Pittsburgh does.
Yeah.
And so we spent some time and
Matt, sorry, real quickly, have we ever talked about how much I love IKEA? Has that come up before?
Not only have we talked about it, I think we talked about it like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That was a lead-in for kind of a dumb joke. Like, I know that I've talked about it extensively. So we go to IKEA because there's an IKEA in Pittsburgh. Like, we had gone and done a thing. We had gone to the Cathedral of Learning, which is a building on Pittsburgh campus, University of Pittsburgh campus. It's really cool. It's amazing. It's like a cathedral, but it's not a cathedral. It looks like a cathedral, but it isn't. and there's a bunch of rooms and like national clubs like in and around Pittsburgh, like the Pittsburgh Irish American Association like sponsors a room, and they really like trick it out like Irish style. And so there's like 30 different rooms, and they are all like designed and adorned to like celebrate the culture of like one of the ethnic groups that makes up Pittsburgh. If you're ever in Pittsburgh, definitely go visit the Cathedral of Learning. Show up by like 2:30. There's like guided audio tours. They're super, super cool. And so we finished that. We're like, what do we want to do? We're like, well, there is an IKEA like 15 minutes from here.
Right. Like we need to, I'm not going to say we're going to have dinner at IKEA, but we are definitely going to eat there. And I kind of want to pick up some stuff. And also, just wandering around IKEA is so peaceful.
It is. It is. So we wander a little bit. We have some fika.
Uh-huh.
And,
which is like a Swedish word for like chillin' with coffee and a sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And I picked up some drawers that I needed.
And the thing that I picked up, I got a handful of things, but primarily what I picked up was a set of patio furniture.
It's lovely.
It's like a little drop leaf table with a couple of folding chairs. It's great. And I came home, and after the weekend, yesterday I took Monday off of work because we were coming off of a long weekend. I came home, I set up the table, I got out my Allen wrench, and made it all happen. And I set up this great patio table, and I was feeling really good about it, right?
Right.
And then today I went into work. And, going back to work was fine. It's work. It's whatever. But one of the things that makes where I work a hashtag fun office, as I've referenced in the past, is that we have an outdoor area on the grounds that is like, it's a bunch of gardening lots. It's like container stuff, right?
Yeah. You have an allotment.
And so I had sort of one of the slots in one of the containers, and me and a couple of other people went out and we planted our garden plants for the summer. And I planted I got some cherry tomatoes, I got some basil, and I got some peppers. And I put them all on the ground. I dug them up. I dug a little hole and I put the plants in and I watered the plants. And then I reflected, Dave, on my day or two, and I realized that I just got a new patio set, and I also just planted some summertime crops for me to enjoy eating some stuff.
Yeah.
And I realized, Dave, I'm the king of summer.
You got the Diablo going.
I do have the Diablo going. And I realized, Dave, I think I might be the king of summer. This might be Matt's time to be king of summer. I just got a fresh patio set. I just got some outdoor things that I'm going to be growing and harvesting. And listen, I'm trying to be positive this year. You know that 2019 is my optimistic year. And I have decided, Dave, that this year Matt J is the king of summer. So I hope you're all ready for this. I just cut off a recently retired pair of jeans. So I got a new pair of cut-off jean shorts. I got a new sort of like tropical shirt. I got the patio set. I got the garden going. It's summertime for Matt. And I'm just going to soak it all in. I'm very excited about it.
Okay, Matt, I just want to say I fully support your claim to this throne. As, I don't know, let me say like the viceroy of summer, I do think a small chink, you got to get a grill, man.
Well, I mean,
that's all I'm going to say.
I was a hair's breadth away from buying a grill while we were at IKEA. I didn't make it happen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I know. Had I predicted that you were going to be going like the King of Summer route, I probably would have pushed you to get this grill a little bit harder. You got to get a grill, man.
Okay, here's what's nice. What's nice is that one of the guys who lives in my building has a grill out back that I could use. So if I
I think you're fine then.
You're fine. If I'm willing to grant him like a dukedom of summer, I feel as though
I was going to say
okay.
you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you need to do is, as the King of Summer, you annex his territory, grant him, as you say, this is how kings work. You grant him a dukedom, and you use his grill, and then everybody's good. I love it. I love this whole vibe you've got going on, Matt. I support it. Well, in that case, ifist I may so inquire, Your Majesty, what is... That's how you have to talk to it. No, there are no modern kings. Did you know that? Did you know if you speak... I mean, there are modern kings, but they all speak like oldie time English. Even the ones who are not, in fact, English. Like, if you speak to the modern king of Sweden in modern Swedish, he will not understand you. You have to speak to him in Shakespearean English only.
I feel like Shakespearean English, that's the thing that locked in at some point. Because if you watch Gladiator... Like, all of the royal people in the movie Gladiator, which I realize is not a modern reference, but I feel like a lot of people saw Gladiator. All the fancy people are talking with British accents.
Yeah. That's, like, that accent is sort of like pan-temporal. Like, I think the ancient Romans did speak Italian, but if you spoke Italian and you could listen to them, and then you also spoke, if you were, like, in modern English, you'd be like... That ancient Roman Latin sounds like it's being spoken with a British accent. I don't know why it is, but it's probably true. So what, Matt, Your Majesty, if I may so inquire, is our third star of the week?
Dave, our third star of the week is that I was out for a walk the other day. You know how I do.
Like you do.
Walking across my summer territory.
Your dements?
Yeah, my
Your
dements.
kingdom? Your domain?
My domain, that's the word I was looking
Your
for.
Your terra regnum? Go ahead.
Basically, my domain, my summer domain, is the grounds between my apartment and the park up by Lake Erie.
Yeah.
So, I'm out walking the grounds, making sure everything's cool, and I walk past a car. It's parked in a parking lot. Now, this is not a commute update, because this car was parked in a driveway.
Well, and you were just walking.
And I walk past, and I see that it has a series of decals up in the back window. It's a sedan. And up in the back window, it has the full window is a number of letter decals spelling out a word. The word, Dave, is blaze. Now, you might think that you know what that looks like. However, I would like to correct you, because it's not spelled that way. It was spelled, in all capitals, B-L-A-Y-Z-E-E-E. Blaze.
Wait. B-L-A-Y-Z.
3 E's.
3 E's.
Now, I assume that it was meant to say blaze and not blase, because that the font suggested a blaze, not a blase.
Yeah, okay, I got you. It would still be blase.
So I look at this, I sort of see it out of the corner of my eye, and I walk past, and then I just wanted to make sure that I saw what I saw. So
I'm envisioning, I can see the movie. You're walking by, you catch out of the corner eye, you literally stop mid-step, backpedal by 2 or 3 steps, turn, take a closer look at this. It does in fact say blase.
Now, not only does it say blase / blase.
Do you take your sunglasses
blaze
off at this point?
Oh, no, I did not, because they're prescription sunglasses that I would just
good point.
But what I did see, Dave, is not only did it say that on the back window in like hot pink on fire letters, you might expect me to be saying that it also said that as the license plate. It did not. The other place that it said it was like, if you're looking at the back of a car and it says it's like a Honda Accord or something, on like the right side of the trunk, it'll have like a bunch of like block silver letters that came from the factory that say Accord or, whatever.
Yeah.
Civic. Whatever you got. whichever Honda you have, you know what I'm talking about. This person, I feel like I don't know what order it happened in, because those letters, they had like pried them off the car and replaced them with custom letters that said Blaze in the exact same spelling, same number of E's. Now here's what I'm wondering, Dave. Do you think that this is someone who got the stickers, put them on their car, and was like, oh man, it's Blaze time, I gotta do everything I can, and then also bought those? Or here's the other version of this. Do you think that they got those letters, those custom silver letters, and put them like sort of discreetly on their car and drove around for like 2 weeks, and they're like, man, I feel like people aren't really getting my style.
No one's getting it.
No one is appreciating my style. They got to be right up on me to see it. I need to expand this as much as I can. Obviously, that's too many letters to put in a custom license plate, and I refuse to remove any of the E's. Like, you could do it if you dropped 1 or 2 E off, but no, they are committed to all 3 E's. And so they went to the custom sticker store and said, hey, I got a car, its name is Blaze, I need you to hook me up.
Dude, I just did like a quick Google search to make sure that this was not like a thing that we did not know about. And like, there are a handful of people that use this as their like online handle for stuff. I think you may have come across like someone who's just like deeply into their TikTok profile.
I mean, that's possible, sure, obviously. But I feel like I prefer to think that they're just deeply committed to the Blaze lifestyle, and that is a lifestyle that they have defined themselves and refuse to share with anyone else. Except, I guess, for the one person who has that as the license plate. Because you know that... No, never mind. As I said, that's too many letters. You
can't do it.
Because there's a Blaze lifestyle that you can get a license plate for, but there is not a Blaze lifestyle that you can get a license plate for.
Yeah, I do just want to say, if they're trying to say Blaze, it needs to be like BLAAAAYZE. I mean, like throwing the E's on the end, again, it's just Blazee. Like, that's how phonics works.
Hey, listen, I know, I agree with you. I think you're right if you're living a phonics lifestyle, but if you're living a Blaze lifestyle, maybe it just works differently.
Listen, Blaze lives by his... You said it was hot pink? I'm going to assume that's a lady. Forgive me.
I mean, listen, man,
I'm going to assume that she's living her own life. So, Matt, what... what? What's our 4th star of the week?
Dave, our 4th star of the week is that, listen, I don't think that I encountered Blaze in the wild, but I want to tell you something else that I saw on that same walk. And I feel like this might trigger a sense memory in you.
This is a wild walk so far.
I mean, listen, I'm just treading across my domain. So I get up to Edgewater Park. I'm walking around. It's a beautiful Saturday. And as I'm heading back, I see a couple
All is well in the kingdom of summer.
I see a couple of teens. 2 teens. I'm going to say 2 teenage boys between the ages of 14 and 16. They are in the park.
This is not unusual so far.
No, not at all. Dave, they are in the park, and they are practicing karate. Now.
Awesome.
I want to be very clear about this.
Okay, first of all, I want to make it very clear before we even start on this star, I will not be dunking on these dudes at all.
Oh, no.
If you were planning on dunking on these dudes, I refuse to join. I don't think you were. Just on the off chance you were going to dunk on these 2 clearly radical dudes, I'm not joining in it with you. I'm 100% a fan of whatever they're doing.
Okay.
Please continue.
Dave, I don't want to say you spoke too soon, but let me continue to tell you this situation. These 2 teens did not know karate even a little bit.
Nope, I'm sticking with it. I do not care.
These 2 teens First of all, we're clearly not wearing karate workout clothes. They were wearing...
Okay, well, that does kill it for me a little bit. Like, if they were just in the park wearing, like, full-on karate gis, I would have... Anyways,
go
Dave,
ahead. No. I would have done a whole other build-up if they were wearing karate gis. I would have been rejoicing that there were warriors available in my Kingdom of Summer. Dave, no. These were dudes in, like, sneakers and very long jean shorts and, like, t-shirts that, man, probably didn't have a picture of Goku on them, but might have had a picture of Goku on them. And they were just in the park, and as I was walking past, I could tell the reason I say they were practicing karate is because they were doing the same motions over and over. But those motions, although they simulated karate, were not the sort of motions that anyone who had ever studied karate would do. They were, like, one of them was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold on to this, like, tiny tree stalk. It's not a stalk, it's a trunk. It's a tiny tree trunk. Like, I'm going to hold on to it with one leg. Or one arm, rather. If he was holding on with one leg, different story. Holding on with my left hand, with my right foot, I'm going to reach out that foot and do 4 karate kicks in a row to practice my made-up karate kick. And the other dude was just standing there doing punches in the air, like just flailing his arms around. And I was watching the both of them. I was like, dudes, I know who you, like, I see you. Not only do I see what you are doing, I see your soul. Like, I see that you guys have played so many video games and watched so much anime that you're like, I need to train to learn how to fight. I'm not going to pay a guy or buy some special shoes, but I'm going to practice my kicks. I'm going to go to the park, and it's going to be kick time for an hour. And if I just do my awful kicks in, like, sets of 4 forever, then eventually, if someone ever comes at me and they're like, hey man, give me your wallet chain and whatever wallet is attached, they're gonna have their kicks, and they're gonna get all 4 kicks out, and it's gonna be amazing. And that guy's gonna be like, okay, listen. Whoa, I'm so sorry for coming at you. I didn't know you had kicks.
Okay, listen. First of all, Bruce Lee says, do not fear the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks. Fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So,
I mean, hey, listen. I guess
I'm just saying,
I respect their dedication to the craft. I don't necessarily respect what version of that craft they're doing, but I respect the time they're putting into it.
Yeah, no, listen. Young men, first of all, let me just say, if you happen to be listening, if you were listening to the buildup of this star and you were like, holy cats, that is me. Also, I must have encountered Matt J in the wild. This is the second best day of my life, first best day of my life when I decided to pursue the art of karate. It may have been the same day. First of all, let me say,
it kind of looks like it was the same day, if I'm being honest.
Okay. First of all, let me say, I salute you. All right? That is not a joke. The second part is, go get karate. Like, listen, my man, go get karate lessons. Like, I have been where you have been. As Matt said, I see you in my soul. Like, it has passed over and through me. I get it. Pay someone who knows what they're doing and get some karate lessons. It's like, sweep the floors if you have to. It'll be fine. Wax their cars, paint their fence. I am fairly certain that that's how learning karate works.
Sure, you wax the car, you paint the fence. That's how you learn karate.
That's how you learn karate. What, Matt? So, King of Summer, Duke Blaze, living in your domain, 2 rad warriors. What do you have 5th star of the week to top all of this awesomeness?
Dave, our 5th star of the week. Hey, have you ever played the video game Secret of Mana? It's kind of an older game. I wonder if you know what this one is.
Haha, that's a funny joke. Yes. I love Secret. For everybody, sorry, everybody who's not Matt, I love Secret of Mana. I love it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I have leveled up every weapon and every spell except the whip because I missed 1 Giga Orb in like a temple somewhere. to like 99.99. I got all the special animations. I love Secret of Mana.
Okay, so you know how Secret of Mana is the video game Seiken Densetsu 2, right?
Yes, I'm aware of this.
Okay, you know that there was a video game that was never released in the United States called Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yes, I played a very bad port of it about 15 years ago.
Okay,
I made part of it.
I tried to play a very bad port of it 15 years ago. I had like a ROM on my laptop, like when I was in college, and either there was no translation and I was trying to pretend that I knew how to read Japanese, or it was such a bad translation that I'm
going to give you the benefit of the doubt. No, it was in English. Even if it wasn't, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that even you never did that.
Yeah, like it was a bad enough translation that it was virtually unplayable. But Dave, finally, lo these many years later, Seiken Densetsu 3, now called The Trials of Mana, is available for me to buy on my Nintendo Switch in a collection of the Seiken Densetsu series, the first 3 games.
Oh man, I don't have a Switch, but that is tempting.
Dave, I did buy it, and it's extremely good. And like, okay, I loved Secret of Mana. I loved Legend of Mana. Legend of Mana is not a well-loved game.
Dude, I loved Legend of Mana. Was that actually like a Seiken Densetsu game? I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was like Seiken Densetsu 4, I think.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, I loved Legend of Mana. Did not really feel like a Secret of Mana sequel, but I did like it a lot.
Okay, here's the thing about Trials of Mana. Trials of Mana 100% feels like a Secret of Mana sequel. It's
nice.
It is as though the same people who made Secret of Mana finished that game, sent it out to get published, and then were like, well, I mean, I guess we're all still in this room. We may as well make another game along these exact same lines. And man, it like...
I mean, that's not definitely what happened, but it's not like an improbable, albeit like shortened and goofy version of probably what did happen.
Yeah, like, listen, I'm only a little ways into this game at this point, right? Like, I've only played it for like 4 or 5 hours because like it is hard to get that much time to like dig into an old JRPG. But what is really crazy about the game is that like the visual stuff in the game, because it's like another Super Nintendo game that came out like a year or two after the first one. And also the music of the game is such that as I'm playing it, I am feeling like, okay, this is not the same song that was in Secret of Mana, but the person who arranged this listened to all the Secret of Mana music and was like, okay, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to turn it by like 10% into something else. So the whole time I'm playing it, like, man, frankly, I'm not even sure it's a good game. Here's what I can tell you, though, is as someone who grew up loving Secret of Mana, playing Trials of Mana, even if it's not a good game, which it might be, like I said, I'm not super far into it, but it just scratches that Secret of Mana itch in a way that I honestly never thought was going to happen again.
Oh, that's deeply satisfying. I'll have to give it a try sometime. I'm over at your place.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we've talked about all this stuff for a long time. Dave, let us take a break. Let us watch, I mean, hey, we've already watched it. I think we've already talked about that. But we're going to take a break anyway. And when we come back, we're going to talk about episode 21 of Gekisou Sentai Carranger. It is called The Carnavi That Surpassed Carnavi. It was originally released on July 19th, 1996. It was written by Yoshio Urasawa. You can watch it on the DVDs or on shoutfactory.tv. I hope that you do. We will be right back. Okay, welcome back. So, episode 21, The Carnavi That Surpassed Carnavi. Nothing to do with Carnival, but definitely...
Yeah, nothing to do with Carnival, and despite Matt's pronunciation, nothing to do with the planet of Pandora.
No, there's no unobtainium to be had in this podcast, which I guess is probably obvious based on its name.
Yeah, man... How is Avatar like one of the... That was such a dumb movie.
I mean...
anyways.
It had a lot of 3D stuff at a time where that was new.
I guess. Okay, so anyways, so we open up. We're on Pegasus Motors, and Natsumi is working. Everybody's at work, and Natsumi is working on this car. And it's Yuko, right, is helping her? No, nobody's helping her. Sorry, she's just working on this car.
She's the greatest mechanic of all time. No one needs to help her.
Right. So she's working on this car, and Kyosuke answers the phone rings, and Kyosuke answers it, and it's the grocer. We have met this grocer before in a previous episode, and he says, "Hey, where's my car? This is weird for me. I did not know that. Like, I knew that they made cars, and I assumed that, like, if they had made you a car, they would also repair it. Is this implying that this grocer drives, like, a custom grocery van?"
Well, okay, now here's the thing. He was offered a custom grocery van at some point, because I remember they were saying, like, oh, if you put, like, rocket engines in the back of your grocery van, you will be able to do things faster. But I have seen the picture. I have seen, like, the art that they whipped up to try to sell him on that, and that is not what his van looks like.
Yeah, okay. Well, so maybe he does not, in fact, he didn't get, like, the upgrades to his personalized van, but maybe he did actually get a van. Anyway, so he calls them, and he's like, hey guys, like, I need my car. I have, like, this grocery business, and, like, I need my car. When's it going to be ready? And Kyosuke's like, sorry. Like, it'll be ready really soon. We have 15 more minutes. Natsumi does not look like she is 15 minutes away from finishing this car.
Okay, here's the thing. Natsumi does not look like she is 15 minutes away from this car when we see her at the very beginning of the episode. But as soon as Kyosuke...
That's true. What you don't know is that she only started 30 seconds before. She's the greatest mechanic on the planet.
Right, so as soon as Kyosuke hangs up the phone, Natsumi's like, oh yeah, I'm done. Don't worry about it. Like, you can go deliver this car immediately. So
Kyosuke's like, oh, okay, cool. And then Yuko comes over, and she's like, hey, like, I want to come too.
Right.
Kyosuke's like...
Because the thing is that Yoko is she is the accountant for Pegasus Motors. And she says, hey, I need to get a ride with you because it's the end of the day and I need to get to the bank before the bank closes to do bank stuff. Because apparently Yoko is not as good of an accountant as Natsumi is a mechanic.
Right. So Kyosuke's like, okay, sure. So, like, the next scene we see them in the car, and Kyosuke's like, all right, well, where's the bank? Like, this is your part. I don't know where I'm going. Where's the bank?
Not only where is the bank, which bank are we going to? And Yoko, seemingly has no idea.
Yeah, Yoko's terrible at her job. You're the accountant. How do you not know, A, just where the bank is off the top of your head, and B, off the top of your head, what name it has? Like, how is... Okay, so here's, I think, what we figured out. Natsumi is amazing at her job.
Yes.
Naoki is also very good at his job.
Yes, so they can fix cars and design cars with the best of them.
Right. Minoru is, like, okay at his job.
Right, like, he can sell something to someone who already wants to buy something. Kyosuke... is the driver...
Indeterminate. Unclear as to how good Kyosuke is at his job. Yuko is actively bad at her job.
You know what? I should go back and try to figure out... Because in the first episode, they tell you what each of their salaries is. I should go back at the end of this season...
Or just see if she has the lowest salary.
Well, yeah, I need to go back at the end of this season, once we have determined how good everyone is at their job, to figure out if everyone is being paid fairly.
So anyway, the point is, she gets this map out. She's trying to... And she's a terrible navigator. Like, she keeps, like, telling Kyosuke, like, go left, go right, no, go straight. And it's not like they're not like moving between streets and intersections. Like he's just like veering around the street trying to follow her terrible directions because she's unable to orient herself on this map.
Right.
And
honestly, I feel like this speaks very badly of Yuko's navigational skills. This also does not speak highly of Kyosuke because they're in the middle of a straightaway where they are not coming up on an intersection, and he is just veering around this road wildly every time she says left, right, straight.
Listen, Matt, he is a test driver. He is a man of finely tuned reactions and instinct. When somebody says turned left, he trusts it. It's not his fault that he trusts his navigator. That's on Yuko.
Okay.
He's just operating at a very high level of reaction speed. You know, he hears it. It just goes straight to his hands. Straight to his hands. That's how. I guess I've decided that he's good at this. Anyways, so she's a terrible navigator, and she navigates him into Koban base. Like he just drives into Koban base. And Signalman is there. He's like, "Hey, citizen, do you know what you've just done?" And Kyosuke at least has the presence of mind to just apologize instead of yelling at Signalman.
But Signalman is not having any of it. He's like, man, okay, Signalman is weird because sometimes he will see a straight up space crime happening and be like, that is not my jurisdiction. And then later, Kyosuke will like bump into Koban base in his car and not do any appreciable damage to it. And he's like, I cannot forgive you. You are under space arrest.
Now, I don't exactly know what space arrest means because nothing then happens. Kyosuke is completely free to go.
I mean, he kind of runs away. I feel like maybe he thinks that his jurisdiction is only 10 feet around Koban base, and once someone is able to run away that far, he's like, I'll get you next time.
Maybe it's that if you're running away on foot, he immediately loses jurisdiction over you.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to try to drive away, then he could chase. But if you run, he's just like, I'm not the running guy. Like, I am the traffic guy. So
that's a
the
very
car,
good
of course,
point.
is... Now, they must drive away because the next thing we see is that the car is back at Pegasus Motors, and it is still... I mean, it's not still broken. It is broken again. And Natsumi is very reasonably so furious.
Right, because
she's like, you were a terrible navigator.
And now here's the thing, is that she is not upset with Kyosuke for crashing the car. She is upset with Yoko for navigating Kyosuke into a situation where he would crash the car.
Listen, Kyosuke is a finely tuned test driver. Natsumi understands this. And so they kind of like, there's this like back and forth, and Yuko's like, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I'm just a terrible navigator. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. We go from there up to Barabarian, where Beauty Zanette is just straight up doing a like lounge number. She like comes down the stairs. There's like some va-va-voom trumpet, and then she is just doing lounge singer music. There's like a spotlight on her. Everybody's just sitting around the bar, sort of appreciating the only one of them who is not a horrifying monster, including instructor Richie Hiker.
Yes. Richie Hiker is sitting there. He is enjoying the music. He's sort of like tapping his toes, and like he's got his sort of like his pointer, because like he is a teacher. So it is as though he has like a pointer that he can point to a blackboard. That's just something he carries around a lot. And he's sort of waving it around as though it is a conductor's baton, enjoying the music. And President Dynamo rolls up. He's like, hey man, Instructor Richie Hiker, you are our consultant. You're under salary. We're paying you, not a lot, but we definitely are paying you. Why are you sitting here listening to music? You, instead of that, need to be planning new ways to destroy the Carrangers. That is literally your job that we have hired you for. Come on, man.
Like, get with it. Instructor Richie Hiker says, in some quick thinking, I think he's figured out that President Dynamo is kind of a moron. at this point.
He's a rube. Like, President Dynamo is not...
That's a better way to say it.
He's not dumb, but he is very credulous.
Okay, so he's like, listen, President Dynamo, I'm working on it. Like, the best way for me to think my way around this problem is to just sort of chill out, listen to this kind of nonsense song that Zanette is singing, and sort of like let my mind be free, and I'll figure it out. In fact, I have just figured it out.
Okay, Dave.
I just did it right now.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Because
you just did. So
okay, it's happening. He calls it a nonsense song, but here is what Zanette is singing. She said,
"Oh yeah."
She says it's a boring afternoon on Barabarian. I had a dream. Riding on a white UFO, a prince is coming to get me. In a cafe on Venus, I want to drink a melon soda. Now, if you have not been watching the show to this point, you'd be like, I don't know, it's just a whatever. But here's the thing.
Or if you are just a guy in the BB Saloon, this makes no sense.
Right, but here's the thing. If you are someone who watches this show, this is not a nonsense song. She is singing about Red Racer, obviously, right? Like, she is dreaming about
clearly,
like her knight on a white horse coming to take her away, but she's from space, so it's a white UFO.
Yeah, no, she's definitely, sorry, I had not mentioned that, but she is definitely singing about the Red Racer. So Instructor Richie Hiker says, in fact, I have just figured it out. The reason that you keep losing to Carranger is that you are being haunted by a space plague. And then we get a cutaway to a dude in a weird robe and a funky wig and some very strange fright makeup, and he says, I'm the space plague. And then you see him, like a ghostly image of him superimposed over the entire planet of Barabarian, and he says, I'm haunting you.
Ooh, spooky.
And then we go back to the saloon. So Instructor Richie Hiker says, listen, here's all you need to do. You need to capture the Carrangers and sacrifice them to the space plague, and then the space plague will not haunt you anymore, and then you will be able to defeat the Carrangers.
Now President Dynamo is like, oh my gosh,
he does
a space
catch
plague.
this.
How could this have happened?
First of all, he's like, oh no, a space plague. And then second of all, he says, like, well, if it were that easy, we would have already done it.
Well, no, okay, here's the
thing. Which I'm glad that he does at least catch the circular nature of Richie Hiker's reasoning here.
The thing is that I don't think President Dynamo says that. I think that was Zelmoda.
Oh, you're right.
Like, President Dynamo is immediately like, oh my gosh, how could I have doubted you? Of course there's a space plague. We need to capture the Carrangers to sacrifice them to the space plague so that we can beat the Carrangers. And Zelmoda says, wait, hang on a second. If we capture the Carrangers, then that's kind of the thing. So why this is a very dumb idea. But at this point, President Dynamo has already bought 100% of the way in.
Right. And he says, no problem. We will perform this exorcism. We will get our greatest shaman, A.A. Abanba. And A.A. Abanba, his motif is an exorcist and an orangutan.
He's very ugly, and I hate him.
Yeah, he's real ugly. He's very strange looking. I don't hate him as much as I could because a lot of the time he's invisible.
I mean, that's really the only thing he has going for him. Literally, when he shows up, my notes say, A.A. Abanba appears, and I hate him.
So, A.A. Abanba, that's his thing. He can, like, turn invisible, and he kind of wanders in, and, like, some stuff floats up, but it's actually A.A. Abanba picking it up. And he's like, no problem, like, I'll go down to Earth and I will handle the Carrangers. So we see the grocer. We're back on Earth. We see the grocer, and he is hauling stuff around on, like, a hand cart, grumbling, because he's like, I need this van to do my business. Like, these jerks said my van would be done, and it's not done, and, like, everything sucks and is stupid. So then we see, like, his groceries, like, floating up, and an apple disappears, because, of course, A.A. Abanba has arrived, and he is invisible. That's all we get out of that scene. It's just like, hey, the guy's here and he's invisible.
Yeah, and the grocer kind of freaks out. We cut to Pegasus Motors, and Natsumi is fixing the grocer's truck again. And Yoko is, like, kind of floating over her back shoulders, like, hey, I'm really sorry. I can't believe I screwed up this badly. Can you ever forgive me? And Natsume's had a chance to chill out for a minute now. And she's like, listen, I can definitely forgive you. If you're really sorry, that's fine. But here's the deal. We are co-workers, and I'm embarrassed that I work with someone whose navigational sense is as bad as yours. So you have to do something about it. Like, it is...
But
you're like bringing shame on the entire garage.
So, just then, Dapu shows up and he's like, the Bozook are here. Oh no. So they all run and get in now in, what is it? Pegasus Thunder and Dragon...
Cruiser. Dragon Cruiser.
Dragon Cruiser. I do want to point out that, like, okay, 4 of the Rangers are, like, in seats with seatbelts. Minoru is just standing on the back of Dragon Racer, like, holding on to the roll cage. And, like, that's just his seat.
I mean...
Like, at no point does he sit down and strap in.
Okay, that's very...
Which I only mention this because their tagline is literally fighting for traffic safety.
Okay, that is 100% true. But of those 5 characters, which one of them do you think is the least responsible? It's definitely Minoru, right?
Yeah, it is definitely Minoru. I just feel like... I mean, he could have had a seatbelt or like a harness or something.
It is weird because in the last episode when we were introduced to the Pegasus Thunder and the Dragon Cruiser, as they were driving Kyosuke and Naoki around, they like supernaturally put the seatbelts on them, so you know that they care about that.
Yeah,
but okay.
Maybe it's just waiting for Minoru to get into a space where there is a seatbelt, and he's like, "No, man, I'm just gonna hang out and stand in the trunk."
Now we have not yet seen Minoru do that untransformed. So maybe the logic of the show is that, like, hey, man, when he's the Green Racer, it's fine. He can deal with it.
Like, it's okay. I got it. Still, not setting a great example, Minoru.
No, that's not what I would call traffic safety.
Yeah. So they're driving around. They're looking for the Bozook, and it's not really clear if A.A. Abanba has both like invisibility and illusion powers, or if he is just like appearing and then disappearing and then moving and then like reappearing in another place. But the point is he is appearing at various points on this road, and Kyosuke is driving Dragon or Red Pegasus Thunder, and Yuko is like navigating him to try and get over to A.A. Abanba.
Yeah, so like,
but she's a terrible. Okay.
I guess the logic
the conceit
of this
here
is that like Kyosuke is not like Kyosuke has his eyes closed and is only driving towards the enemy based on what Yoko is saying.
And I think the other element of this conceit is that Yuko is perhaps such a bad navigator that she cannot navigate you to something that is directly visible to her.
And like she's so bad at it that it like she is like actively flustering Kyosuke to the point where he can't even drive straight.
Right. And the end result of this is that Pegasus Thunder and Dragon Cruiser like head-on collision. It's not bad, but like they crash into each other.
Yeah, everyone's fine, but A.A. Abanba gets away.
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh no, this monster has escaped. He is not here." That he is, of course, there. He's just invisible, and he is attacking Minoru.
So they kind of all crash, and then all of the guys run off after A.A. Abanba. And Natsumi stays behind with Yoko. Is like, "Hey, are you okay?" Yoko says, "Yes, I'm fine, thank you. But my inability to be a navigator has once again gotten us into trouble." And listen, I know that Kyosuke is a finely tuned machine who can respond faster than he can think, but like Kyosuke is the one who got into the car wreck. Like, this is not actually Yoko's
him
fault.
And Naoki. Yeah, Naoki also crashed into him. So, anyways. So, all 3 of the guys are sort of like off, and they're fighting invisible A.A. Abanba, and they all sort of like fall back all at once. and they fall onto this like magic circle, and when they fall onto it, it triggers a trap, and this like cage materializes around them, and then A.A. Abanba like throws a sheet over it and does a disappearing act, and they just vanish.
Right. I don't know if this show knows what an exorcism or an exorcist are, because A.A. Abanba is like a magician. Not like he's like a David Copperfield magician who is dressed in a robe. Like, he is not doing like exorcism stuff. He is doing straight up stage magic.
Later on, he does do some stuff that is a little when he's like preparing like the sacrifice, and the guys end up strapped to a giant model rocket, and they're going to launch that into space to appease the space plague.
Well, sure, because
that's haunting them.
They need to get offered up to the space plague, so they need to get up to space to do it.
Yeah, so you put him on a rocket, and there he is doing stuff that does seem a little more like, like spiritual or whatever.
So,
but I do wonder if this is like a weird, just like a flurb of translation, and they do mean he's like a. I think they say shaman once or twice, and that might make a little bit more sense.
Maybe.
So
they're all in the cage, and A.M. Bamba comes up to them. This is before the rocket. He comes up and he says, "Oh, I got you. This is great. We're going to appease the space plague. Also, hey, aren't there supposed to be 5 of you? Because I've only got 3. And Kyosuke, thinking quickly, says, "Oh, yeah. I mean, there were 5 of us, but we fired the other 2, so we are the only 3. You got us all. You don't have to worry about anybody else."
And Abanba says, "Awesome." So we go back. So the next we see Naoki, not Naoki, Natsumi and Yuko and Dapu, and they're back at headquarters. And of course, Yuko is kind of flipping out again. She's like, "I can't believe this. We've lost the guys. Like, what are we going to do? The Carrangers are going to be defeated because, like, I'm a bad navigator. If only we had a GPS that was like a weapon, that was like powerful enough to use as a weapon, right. Like we would be able to navigate, and we could use the GPS to find the invisible guy."
Dave,
is her plan.
I want to interrupt you for a second, because the way that they arrive at this is way more bonkers than what you are communicating. Yoko says, "If only we had a GPS, I wouldn't have gotten lost."
That's right.
Dapu says, "A GPS? I've never heard of this. What is this sort of weapon?" And Natsumi says, "Oh, no. A GPS isn't a weapon. It's just a thing that we have that, like, lets us do, lets us globally position our satellites, I guess." But as she's explaining this, Yoko then has a breakthrough, like a mental breakthrough. She's like, "Oh my gosh, GPS, weapon, GPS. What if we had a GPS that was also a weapon?" And she interrupts the both of them and says, like, "Okay, we need to stop this conversation right now and invent a weapon that is also a GPS."
And she says, "I know the 3 of us can do it." So Dapu is like the Merlin of car magic, Natsumi is the world's greatest mechanic, and Yuko is a bad accountant. Like, what does Yuko think she's adding?
And also, what
to this triumvirate?
Like, Yoko does not know what, like, a Yoko probably does not know how a GPS works. Which is no problem. I also don't really know how a GPS works. But this would be like if I said to someone, "Oh my gosh, what if we had a GPS that was also a boat?"
And the 3 of us, you, a wizard, and the world's greatest mechanic, and I, a librarian.
Right.
Like, we will build this GPS boat. And then, of course, they do proceed to do exactly that.
They 100% do it, and it's not even hard.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard, Matt. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
So we go from there. Yeah, we go from there. We see the guys again are strapped to a giant rocket that is in front of representations of recreations of the Easter Island statue heads. Here's an amazing fact. In case you did not know this, a number of years ago, I didn't know this growing up, a number of years ago, they did excavations like on Easter Island, guys, it ain't just heads. Like, there's whole bodies underneath there. They were just buried.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my
that
gosh, have you never seen this?
Me, but I feel like we would have talked about this a few years ago when those same Easter Island head statues showed up in Ranger, which I'm pretty sure happened.
Yeah, no,
Actually,
sorry,
I'm
we
sorry.
should
I don't know if
have.
they ever showed up in Ranger. I know they showed up in Ranger.
Yeah, anyways, no, there are just like, go look it up. It's not just heads. The bodies are just buried. They look real crazy. They look, okay, honestly, they look a little bit like comic book Korg.
Okay.
Just they do. Anyways, they look totally rad. Anyways, so the guys are strapped and they're doing like this big magic ceremony to launch the guys into space on a rocket to appease the space plague, which again I am fairly confident does not exist.
Oh no, that's just something Richie Hiker made up to get out of being yelled at.
Right. We go back and we see Yuko and Natsumi and Deppu working on the weaponized GPS. This is, I think, the most egregious example of like time dilation in the seasons of this show that we've watched.
Oh yeah,
because like on the guys' end, it seems like 30 seconds is taking place.
There's like
on
a
the women's
fuse
end,
that is burning down, and on the
right, but on like the women's end, it's like hours.
They're like going onto a computer and like mocking up designs and pointing at things like, no, this won't work. We need to do it a different way, and then constructing a whole device from scratch. Yes.
So then we're sort of flipping back and forth. I do think this is a new. I don't think we've ever seen. No. Nidoro Budoro was human sacrifice. That's the last time we saw human sacrifice on Sentai. But this is definitely like live human sacrifice that they're planning. Yeah. So after all that, the GPS doesn't work.
They make a whole GPS. It is branded with the Carranger logo. That is how much time they have spent on it. They didn't just cobble together a device. They cobbled it together and then attached the appropriate decals. And they switch it on and it doesn't work. And Yoko is heartbroken. She's like, I knew, we should be able to do this. Why isn't it working? We need this device to be able to find this invisible man and also help me learn how to navigate, like, what could have gone wrong. And she just breaks down and starts crying.
And so she weeps. She weeps car magic tears onto the... This is where Carnavi comes in, by the way. It's car navigation, if you hadn't put that together yet. She weeps car magic infused tears onto this thing. We see they drip down like onto the circuit board and short circuit it, but like it already didn't work. So they it right circuits it and infuses it with the car magic of her tears, and then it works.
And now it is a functional super device. An unstoppable, wonderful advancement in technology that could only be powered by car magic tears.
Love it. So basically, we go back. The fuse is lit. The guys are about to die. One of their auto Punisher swords flies through the air, cuts the fuse, and Yellow Racer and Pink Racer have arrived. And they're like, we got you guys, we'll save you. And then A.A. Abomina's like, yeah, whatever, get bent. Invisibility! And they're like, you get bent. We have a device that casts detect invisibility, basically.
Yeah.
And so they flip it on, and Natsumi's like, behind you! And then... Holy cats, Matt. Sorry, because what Yuko does is she just turns around and punches into midair, and then A.A. Abanda appears a second later, and she has punched his invisible form. Here's a very, very important question, Matt. Were the two rad karate guys, was there a GPS? Was one of them holding one? Was there one near them?
Oh, that's a great question. Now, I will say, no, they were not holding a GPS, but their flailings were not hitting anything. So I'm not gonna say
that
there
you
wasn't
could see.
like I'm not gonna say that there wasn't an invisible Bozook there, but if there was, they really needed that GPS because they were just like swinging their limbs around, hoping against hope that they would run into something.
Well, hey.
I mean, they don't have the car magic
So
to cry on the device to make it work properly.
Listen, it's hard to come by. That's like a rare component. So, anyways, the bad guys sort of scatter. They run over. They cut the chains off of the three guys, and now the fight is fully joined.
Right, and like Zalmoda shows up, and everybody has to fight some Wumpers. But as this is happening, Abanba runs away. Right, but they still have this GPS device. And so Natsumi takes the GPS device and like unfolds it, and now it's a gun, but the gun has like the GPS device as a scope on it. And they've basically invented Omega beams. Yeah, it's the Omega sanction. You cannot escape it. And she just like pulls the trigger, and it shoots miles away. Like, we see this beam just shoot off into nowhere, like hang a right at the next corner, circle around people, like almost hit the grocer who was delivering groceries. It like does a little hop over where he is, goes back on its route, gets to a field somewhere, finds Abanba, who is still invisible, and just like zaps him.
Yeah, sorry. Like, we were not kidding about the Omega sanction. Like, it's just, that's what it is.
It's amazing. So he goes down. Everyone catches up to him. There's a fight in the field where, like, Abanba keeps trying to turn invisible, but every time he does, someone says, like, oh, he's right behind you, or he's to your left, or he's right above you. And so he turns invisible, and then someone hits him, and he turns visible again. It's very difficult for him to get his whole thing going, because now his one trick doesn't work anymore.
Right. Well, listen, man, being invisible is a very, very good trick. I can see where you would not necessarily have developed another one.
Yeah, like, listen, I don't blame him. If I could turn invisible, I would not have also learned how to do a bunch of other things that being invisible would have made unnecessary. Unfortunately, it is a bad situation for Abanba. So
he goes down.
Yeah, and as he goes down, the team has gotten a new finishing move, I think. So Red Racer pulls out his regular, like, Punisher laser pistol, and Natsumi hands him the GPS laser pistol, and he kind of, like, fits them both together, and it becomes a rifle. And so now he's got the power of his pistol, plus the power of the GPS rifle, like, sort of plugged into each other, and he just aims it sort of in the general direction of Abanba, and it shoots him, and, like, that is it. Like, now, like, his regular pistol would have done some damage, and the GPS pistol would have done some damage, but of course, when you put two pieces of technology together in a Sentai show, they don't just become the sum of their parts, they immediately become at least exponentially better. At least.
Yeah, minimum. So like, he goes down, he eats some Emo Yogan, he goes giant, they summon RV Robo. Cyrender actually shows up to help.
Yeah, and he's like, hey man, don't leave me out of this. Like, I'm also important. You haven't seen me do this in a few episodes.
Now, he does immediately get, like, taken out. Abanba, like, just vanishes again and, like, tags Cyrender. Mm-hmm. But then Pink Razor, like, she gets the Navi thing and plugs it in, and she does it. She does the thing, Matt. She gives good directions.
Yes, she, like, plugs in her, like, new GPS into RV Robo and says, like, there, over by that building, there's a building-sized robot you can't see. Let's get him. And they do. They totally get him.
Yeah. That's it. Cyrender, like, breaks his wand, so he can't turn invisible, and then RV Robo does his thing, and then that's the end of Abanba.
Yeah, and that's basically obviously that is basically the end of the show. Like, we get a little wrap up. Natsumi and Yoko go to drop off the grocer's truck to him. The grocer is extremely chill about the fact that his car is being delivered like 2 days late, and also that he almost got zapped by a laser. He doesn't even mention that. I probably would. I would probably mention that a lot in most of my conversations if that happened. But he does not even think it's fit to mention.
Well, listen, this grocer has seen some stuff, if I recall correctly.
And then the grocer says, like, hey guys, like, thanks for dropping off my car. I got a bunch of groceries. I'll give you something for free. Would you like a watermelon, or would you like I did not write down the other thing, let's say a strawberry. And they're standing there, and they're looking at both, and Yoko is looking at both, and she can't decide, and she says, I would like a cantaloupe. And Natsumi's like, oh no, not again. And here's what's crazy about that, is that implies that Yoko's entire problem the whole time is not that she was a bad navigator, but that she was indecisive, which does not work at all based on the rest of the episode. But it's a funny stinger, but it's a weird moment.
It's funny, but only if you accept it. It has to be accepted, it's bizarre because it only works in the context of the rest of the episode, but it also asks you to ignore everything else about the episode.
But Dave, we're not going to ignore everything about the episode. We're in fact going to talk about it because, although this is the end of the episode, it's not the end of our episode, because now we need to determine where A.A. Abanba lands in the Creature Royale. The increasingly way too large and kind of hard to manage Creature Royale.
Okay, so there was another guy who turned invisible. It was Baravanish from last season.
Oh yeah, that was the O-Ranger guy. He could turn invisible, but only when the sunlight was hitting him. And then he could also read your memories with holograms or something.
Yeah, that dude ruled. He's dramatically better than A.A. Abanba. I'm sort of looking down, and A.A. Abanba, again, he's got a weird look, and he's got one trick, he turns invisible. I feel bad because I hope we're not sort of gilding the past, but I feel like a lot of the monsters this season are kind of late.
Okay, I've been thinking about this, Dave. Is that, and actually this episode is not a super great example of what I'm about to say, but hear me out. In previous seasons, I feel as though it was more common that when they would encounter a monster, it wasn't just how the monster looked or what his special attack was, but also, it was difficult to beat them and they needed to figure out how to do it, right?
Yes.
There was a process where they would be like, okay, this is the problem that we are presented with. Here are our resources, and this is what we're going to do to beat him. And I feel like in Carranger, that kind of doesn't happen. Last episode, I think, is a great example. You had a monster that was, their greatest archaeologist, but the only thing they did is just shot him with a gun and, cut him with a sword, and that was it. He was there to make the hook of the episode happen, he found the two cars, but the monster, even though he looked interesting, and I think we gave him a decent ranking based on that, honestly, he doesn't do anything cool. This one turns invisible, but he's not even the best one who turns invisible.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very good point, is that they just don't seem to do much. The rest of the writing is fun, and conceptually the monsters are cool. He's invisible, so you have to figure out a way to defeat his invisibility or whatever.
Like I said, this is not a great episode to give that example, but genuinely I feel as though this episode, the monster of this episode is A.A. Abanba, but really the bad guy of this episode is Richie Hiker, because it's Richie Hiker's thing that he's doing. But I never felt in Ranger that when Zydos had Purse Monk do a thing, it didn't feel like a Zydos episode. It felt like a Purse Monk episode. Whereas this really doesn't feel like an AA Abanba episode. He's just the goon that needs to get shot by the GPS laser. Now listen, the phrase, he's the guy who needs to get shot by the GPS laser, is great. Like, there's a lot in this show that I really love. It's just that the monsters of the week are not
AA Abanba. Right, he's incidental to it almost. So as I'm looking down the list, and I like him better than NN Narenko, the graffiti artist that exploded stuff with like hyper energy spray paint. Kind of up from there, there's Vending Machine Dimension, who I hate his look.
I mean, I know you hate Vending Machine Dimension.
Yeah, I do. I like him better than Vending Machine Dimension. I like him better than Adhesive Cockroach. I think I'm cutting off at like Barra Baby, Barra Medillo.
Yeah, Barra Baby was the monster that made babies cry really loud to make humans hate babies so that they would stop having children, so that in a full generation the Barra Empire could come and destroy them.
Yeah, I mean that's a heck of a plan. So so like below Barra Baby, I would say. So that puts him at the new 140.
Okay.
AA Abanba. The Invisible Orangutan Shaman.
Not a
new slot number 140.
Not a great showing for him, but he was also hideous and I never liked him, so I feel good putting him that low on the list. And that, Dave, that finally is going to do it for another episode of License to Carranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all that you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you would like to get any updates on what we're talking about on Twitter, or when the new episode's coming out, or whatever you want to do there on that Twitter, we're there too at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Give us a rate on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you find the show. That will help other people find the show, which will help us find those other people and then contact them and tell them about our secret plans. And maybe we'll tell you about those plans if you tell 5 more people about the show. This was the whole thing. Finally,
we're really just building our timeline.
It's all about our secret plans. Anyway, but you won't find out about those unless you rate us on Apple Podcasts. The Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. To find any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows and all the secret plans there, you can do that at I got a little waylaid by my secret plans there. The website is
You did.
The website.
RetrogradeOrbitRadio.com.
That's the one. Until next week, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.